Hi everyone. We're just starting. We're just going live now. Shrini, can you hear me?
Yes, Nadia.
All
You hear
right, we're
me?
live. Yes, yes, we're live. We're live.
Hi.
So we're just going to be waiting for some people to trickle in,
Okay.
um, and we'll see as soon as people can start joining in. For the people as you are coming in, my name is Nadia. I'm one of the lawyers at Visa Place, and with me I have Sharini. Sharini is a licensed consultant in Canada and also a lawyer in Sri Lanka. So she comes with a wealth of knowledge as well, and we're excited to be chatting with you guys. We both work at Visa Place. Visa Place is a law firm predominantly in Toronto, where we're both based out of as well. And our law firm is a Canadian law firm that also handles U.S. matters. So we're really looking forward to chatting with you guys today. And I've done a couple of these in the past and chatted with you guys. So for anyone who's joining back in, it's nice to see you and nice to chat with you again. But if this is your first live, today I think we're going to do a bit of question answers. So if you want to go ahead and start, letting us know where you're from, letting us know what you want to hear about, any questions. This is a new year for Canadian immigration, and there's a lot of changes coming up and a lot of programs to be excited for. So it's we can dive into it. We can see what we can do to just chat about a couple of the topics. Okay, so okay. There's a lot of people coming in from a lot of places. So
Yeah.
pleasure to see you guys. Um, so again, I mean, we're based out of Toronto. I'm a Canadian lawyer. Sharini is a Canadian consultant. We both work at Visa Place. And today we're going to do some question answers. We're going to talk a little bit about some developments in Canadian immigration. And if any point you want to chat further with us and help, get some help on your application, we're both here. You can always book a consultation with us afterwards, and we can really help you with an application moving forward. Okay.
So we are also offering a promotion at the moment where they can get 25% off their consultation. So let me just put that code over here. So for anyone who wants to access it.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that sounds good. Oh, we have someone from Sri Lanka.
That's nice. Okay. Hi, Chandra.
Um, so actually, while we wait for some people to get in, Sharini, do you have any important updates that happened in Canadian immigration for the last week that maybe we can share while people start coming in?
Yeah, so we had just this update that came in 2 days back, which made family members of most foreign workers in low skilled work categories, they're eligible to apply for the open work permit and dependent visas for their spouse and children. So that's something that just came in and it's effective from January 30th.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that sounds good. So, guys, what I would like is, if you want to, and if you find that it's helpful, if you want to go ahead and type some of your questions about Canadian immigration, and we'll keep this as informal and helpful as possible. So go ahead and write your questions in the comments, and we're going to go through them and try to get through as many questions as possible. Give you some substantive answers to help you get going. So feel free to just comment any questions in the chat. Okay. Mary, you just asked about consultation fees. It should be on the website link if you check it out. So if you go on our website, visaplace.com, and you book a consultation, you'll be able to see them there. Our consultations are generally about 30 minutes with the licensed consultant. And we'll be able to help you on any immigration matter that you have. Okay. Um, so I have a couple changes that we should be looking at. The most exciting change I think that's happening in 2023 so far, which I'm sure if anyone's in Canada right now and has any Canadian work experience, whether you're a student, whether you just got your postgraduate work permit, or you're just starting your first year of work, Express Entry CEC seems to be coming back. So hopefully we're gonna see more of that trend on a regular bi-weekly basis, and that would be very, very helpful to a lot of people, especially people who've been waiting for a long time. So
That's nice.
yeah.
So Nadia, I also see a question about the new regulations that we just spoke of. So somebody's asking whether it is only for high wage stream. No, it is not. It is actually open for family members of high skilled, low skilled, and family members of economic class permanent resident applicants. Right. So
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Some other questions. So anyone who's just joining in, because we got a couple more people, guys, feel free to chat your questions in the comments, and we're going to go through them. We're going to try to go through as many questions as possible. I know I've introduced us twice already, but for anyone new, I'm a lawyer in Canada at Visa Place, and Sharini's a lawyer in Sri Lanka and a licensed consultant in Canada. We both work at Visa Place, which is a Canadian immigration law firm. So we're going to just treat this live as going through some of your questions and seeing what we can do to help answer and discuss some of the questions that go through. So feel free to chat your questions in the comments. Okay. All right. So let's start a little bit. I see one here that says, I'm an electrician with 16 years of experience. Can I be eligible in Canada? So it's a good question. And you very likely have a pathway to immigrating to Canada, whether that's through permanent means or temporary means. With having 16 years of experience as an electrician, if you have the certifications for it, you should have a pathway through either Express Entry, high skilled, low skilled, or be eligible to obtain a work permit offer as well. In terms of electricians and occupations similar to electricians, it also depends what your citizenship is. For example, if you're a US citizen and you're looking to work inside of Canada, you're going to have a lot more doors open for you so long as you have a job offer. So hopefully that's a scenario that would be applicable for you, because it would be sincerely helpful. All right, so feel free to continue chatting some of your questions. If you want to make them specific, that's okay. We'll go through them. So another question that we see here is, I want to do master's in web designing. How much is the fee of master's in web designing? So I'm assuming you mean the school fee for a master's program, which we don't know because that depends on the school. I wish I knew those things, but these are, we know mostly about the legal aspect of it. So, for example, if you get accepted into a master's program, then we would be able to tell you what the legal fees immigration charges for a study permit, which is $155 before biometrics.
yeah. And also, Nadia, if I'm to just add a little bit on that, then allowance that they need to have when they're coming to study here. So, right, that is 10,000 Canadian dollars, which is
Yeah, good
specified
point.
by IRCC. So that's something
Yes.
that
Yes,
might be
good point. So if you're a study permit holder, or if you're applying for a study permit, you need to have what Sharina was saying, 10,000 Canadian to prove that you'll be able to support yourself as a student. All right. Okay. So someone asked if we can clarify sharing the link with the official source. Rumka, if you can just clarify what are you looking for the link, and hopefully we'll be able to help you with that. Okay. A lot of you guys seem to have really great jobs overseas. And for anyone, I see some people are accountants, real estate agents, culinary, in the culinary field. These are really, really great opportunities, really good jobs. And for a lot of you who are looking how that can translate permanent or temporary, if you can or cannot get a job offer, you still potentially have a good route for permanent residency through Express Entry. Express Entry is one of the most sought after programs to come to Canada, because it's an excellent way to obtain permanent residency as long as you have some skilled work experience. Okay. So anyone who's just trickling in, guys, feel free to just chat in your questions, and we'll be able to get to them as soon as possible. Okay.
Right now, I see a lot of general questions as regards immigrating to Canada. So this is the best way for you to find out what your options are, is to book a consultation with Visa Place.
Yeah, absolutely. I see someone here, Macrina, you're asking about Vanessa who's conducting immigration seminars. No, I don't think she works with us. So we're a law firm in Toronto. We have a couple other locations. And we have a team of licensed consultants, a team of lawyers, and we're based in Canada, in Toronto specifically. We also have a U.S. legal department. If anyone has U.S. legal questions, Srini and I are not U.S. lawyers, but we do have a department. So if you have any questions about that, you can always hop onto our website, and we will be able to set you up with a U.S. team to get you a consultation, or a U.S. legal team to help you with an application. All right. So Sheila, I see you just asked if we help for U.S. immigration. Yes, just in this live, we're going to focus on Canadian immigration, but we do have a U.S. department at our firm. So feel free to go on visaplace.com, and we'll be able to guide you from there. Right. So just one last note. Again, if you've just joined in, feel free to chat some of your questions, and we'll go through them as they come in.
Also, something to be noted for is that there are a lot of impersonators and scammers pretending to be us. So please be watchful of that, and make sure that you actually book a consultation with the immigration lawyers at Visa Place.
Yeah, sounds good. Srini, do you want to go through some of the questions?
So I see somebody has asked for the link of the new program. So can share it over the chat.
All right. Okay, so I see one question here that says, do you help for PR renewal applications? I actually saw someone say a PR renewal. Yes, PR renewal applications. Absolutely, we do. So there are different ways to renew your PR. And it depends on whether you filled your residency. So, for example, if you're a PR holder, you're inside of Canada, and you already fulfilled your residency, then we can absolutely help you with a straightforward PR renewal. And can it be done before 6 months? Do you mean, Tasneem, do you mean 6 months before it expires? Because if so, yes, you can, so long as you meet the residency requirement. Now, let's say hypothetically someone doesn't meet the residency requirement, or they're outside of Canada, then we can take a look at PR renewal on humanitarian and compassionate grounds, or a PR travel document on humanitarian and compassionate grounds to be able to come back. So in Tasneem's case, if you met the residency and you have 6 months before it expires, we absolutely can help you. It's a good time to renew your PR as long as you met the residency already. Okay. For charges, you can always contact us, and we'll be able to share the legal fee with you depending on your situation. And then in terms of immigration fees, those ones you can find on IRCC's fee list website. But the best thing to know, if you're ever curious about an application, we generally like to curtail it to everybody's situation. So feel free to get in touch with us, and we'll be able to go through in depth on the PR renewal process, see how much work is really involved in your situation, and then give you a fair and expected quote based on your situation.
Okay. So Nadia, there was one question on the CSR score and whether it will be dropped because the age is reaching 30. So I believe it will drop, but as long as your IELTS is valid and your educational credentials are valid, we can reassess your profile and see whether you still rank within the entry criteria. So that's something we can assist with.
Yeah, unfortunately, once you hit that 3-0, your points drop. The sweet spot for Express Entry is 25 to 30. But with that being said, most people who do apply for Express Entry are over 30. So it's okay. You're gonna just be one of many of us. But yeah, it'll drop just a little bit. But like Srini said, there's lots of ways to improve it. Easiest way is IELTS. All
So I
right.
see another question by Scorpion. So where your brother is in Canada as a PR and you're looking at the best way possible. So that again, depending on your eligibility criteria, your credentials, maybe we can look at express entry for you. Because if you have a relative living in Canada, you get 15 points, which is a considerable amount. So that's something we can look at. Maybe you can book a consultation with us and we can assist you on that.
And following up on that, Scorpion, just I know your name is not Scorpion, but just in case, if your brother is in Canada and he's a PR, is he alone in Canada? Is he married? Does he have kids? If you can just let us know about that, because they're potentially another program option for you. All right, let's look at some of the other questions here. So again, for anyone who asks, they're an accountant, they're a real estate agent, they've worked as an engineer. The best way, guys, is to look at Express Entry. And even if you don't have a job offer, you can take a look at Federal Skilled Worker. You can take a look at Saskatchewan PNP. You can take a look at Manitoba PNP. These places don't necessarily need job offers, and the draws are more frequent than Federal Skilled Worker, which we saw is a little bare bones right now. So keep that in mind. So anyone who's asked about, their engineers, their accountants, real estate agents, take a look at Express Entry, and we'll also be able to help you with Express Entry. We have a team that's dedicated solely to that at our firm. Okay. All right. Some of the other questions I'm seeing here are, if I have a dual citizenship and one is in the U.S., I have a criminal. Can I use my other citizenship to enter Canada? For whoever asked this question about the dual citizenship, if you can just rephrase it. I don't think I understand what you were trying to say, but I'd love to be able to help. So if you're still on, if you can just rephrase that question again. For Johanna, if you work in marketing, are you still good for Express Entry? It really depends on your job duty and your title. So for example, if you're like a marketing manager, absolutely. If you're a marketing analyst, most likely. If you are an intern working part-time, maybe not. It really depends on not so much the field, because, I mean, first of all, marketing is a great, important field to be in, but it just depends on your actual job title, your duties, your hours, things like that. So we have a couple new people who joined in. So if you guys are new, just joining in, I'm a Canadian immigration lawyer at Visa Place, and Sharini is a Canadian consultant at Visa Place. And we're just going to be treating this live with some question answers and see what we can do to kind of discuss a little bit and help you with that. Okay, so feel free to type in your questions in the comments, and we're just going to be going through them. Okay, Sharini, do you have any of the questions you want to go through? Someone asked if there's any age restrictions. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Any age restrictions? If you're 56, no, there are no age restrictions. Wow, I'm really struggling with that word. Okay. If you're 56, no. The only thing is that as you pass 40, 41, your points will essentially not count towards Express Entry. But again, I mean, there's a lot of people who apply for PR much older and older than 35, older than 40, and they're still eligible because they have a lot of things that make up for the age. Age is just one factor. I mean, also at 56, you have probably more work experience. Maybe if you have high language scores, if you have strong education, all of those things compensate for the lack of scores you're going to get through age. But there's no age limit. Okay.
And Nadia, just to add on that, maybe they will also be eligible for a provincial nomination program if they don't meet the required score for the Express Entry.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true.
It's always better to see your eligibility in terms of all programs.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
So there is someone who has asked about the public policy that was in effect for tourists to apply for a work permit. Yes, it is ending on 11th February, and I don't believe there is an extension for that as yet. Nadia, do you?
No, unfortunately not. It was such a good program. They had it in place. I think it started because of COVID. And then now, as we slowly normalize, it doesn't seem like it's going to be renewed. But with that being said, I mean, Minister Sean Fraser, he's the Minister of Immigration in Canada. In at the end of just 2022, he was saying there's going to be a couple new programs that come out early 2023. So maybe this one, you know, it's not going to be renewed, but we are potentially going to see some new programs. I know a lot of you. Last time I was on this call, we were talking about TR to PR a couple months ago. If you guys remember that TR to PR program, there's been a couple of rumors that it's coming back. So I sincerely hope it does, because it was an amazing program that helped a lot of people. But if you guys subscribe to our newsletter, for example, it's a really great way to keep up to date with some changes, because we'll do these lives as often as possible. But if you want weekly updates on, you know, immigration programs that are changing, then you can go on visaplace.com. And at the bottom, you can subscribe to our newsletter, which I recently did this month as well. So it comes about once a week, sorry, and you'll be able to get, you know, up to date as soon as these new programs are announced. We'll be able to send them to you so you guys are aware as well. Okay. All right, I'm taking a look at some of the questions. So anyone who wants to get in contact with us after this, just feel free to go on visaplace.com and just try to get it. Either you can call in, you can schedule a consultation, you can even just send an email if you want to specifically talk to Srini or myself through the website, and we'll be able to continue the chat and see what we can do to help you in detail. All right. Okay. So this question that I had about the dual citizenship, Corbin, thank you so much for clarifying. Okay, so U.S. citizen denied entry to Canada because I had a criminal record that's over 15 years old. I have citizenship in Trinidad. So, okay, can I use my Trinidadian citizenship to enter Canada? Okay, that's a great question. Very great question. And the short answer is yes. So actually, my legal team specifically, we do a lot of work on advocacy-based immigration, which what that also includes is something called crimmigration, which I like to call it, which is criminal immigration. So in this situation, it's not so much about having dual citizenship that helps you, because whether you're entering as a U.S. citizen or Trinidadian citizen, it's just about your record. So the dual citizenship part doesn't really matter as long as you have U.S. citizenship, so you don't need a visa. So if you're looking to enter Canada just for visiting purposes, you're not going to need a visa. If you need to enter for work, I'll get into that. But it seems like your criminal record is over 15 years old. If you have completed the conditions of your sentencing, so hypothetically, let's say someone had a DUI and it's been, they were charged with 12 months of license suspension. After those 12 months, you have 5 years before you can apply for something called criminal rehabilitation. And rehabilitation is kind of like a blank slate in Canadian immigration. So you can apply to have a blank slate, you're no longer inadmissible, and you can enter Canada. And that, for more severe convictions, is 5 years after completion of sentencing. So let's say in your situation, you completed this 15 years ago, then you're good to apply for criminal rehab. And that's going to wipe it kind of permanently. Now, if you want something temporary and you want to come in on a work permit and you don't really want to be interested in staying in Canada for more than that first year, then there's something called a temporary resident permit, otherwise known as a TRP. And you can get a work permit with that TRP, and that's another program that's available to you. But we can specifically help with something like that, and you're in a good position if it was 15 years ago, and I'm sure there's some grounds we can help you with. All right. Srini, I'll let you answer some of the questions, I'm sure.
Yes, so there's a question on admissibility with regard to disability. So that is something that we can look at when it comes to PR application and creating your express entry profile if you're eligible. So admissibility under medical conditions is applicable only if it's within, if it goes over the threshold that has been given by the government. So if it doesn't bear an undue burden on the Canadian government to provide for your medical needs, disability per se will not be an admissibility ground.
Yeah. Canada definitely doesn't isn't trying to aim at closing the door for anyone with disabilities, and something like a physical disability, as long as it's not something that is either contagious, above the inadmissibility amount. Essentially, let's say you're spending $30,000 a month on your healthcare because of disability, then that could potentially make you inadmissible. But there's still ways around it. So the short answer is no. The short answer is no. Your eligibility will not be diminished, but there are certain criterias in which you can be inadmissible if you have a really extreme case that could, as Srini said, be a burden financially. Are there any other questions we can go through?
Yeah. So I see a question by Excel. Okay. Where your PGW is about to expire, right? And your NOCB experiences matures to 1 year in June, right? But you can create an express entry profile. Yes, I believe you can create an express entry profile, and I can't extend my PGW. I'm not sure what to do from here, so I would appreciate it. Okay, so definitely Excel, you can create an express entry profile and also apply for Canadian Experience class if you have 1 year of work experience in Canada. And in OCB right now, we will have to check whether it's under the tier category. And if it's within that category, you will be still eligible to apply for express entry under the Canadian Experience class. Am I correct, Nadia? I believe he cannot extend his PGWP, but we can definitely create a profile for him with the express entry under the Canadian Experience class. And he has the option to apply for permanent residency once you receive an invitation.
Yeah, I mean, for your PGWP in general, you can't extend it unless you fall under certain exceptions. So one of the exceptions is depending on when it expires. I think it was prior to December 31st. So I think we passed that deadline. They had a couple things for COVID times for people who were PGWP holders, and they had those automatic extensions. So if yours expires in June, it most likely won't qualify. But if you get in contact with us, I can double verify that. So in terms of your express entry profile, I always recommend get your profile together as soon as you hit that 1 year, because after that, you never know when a draw is going to come in. So as long as you hit your 1 year of skilled work experience, get your profile in, especially now that we're seeing express entry come more frequently. It's a good idea to do it. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say the other ways you can extend your PGWP is if you didn't get the full amount. So let's say you applied for a postgraduate work permit and you were eligible for 2 years, but your passport expired in a year, then that time you are eligible to extend your PGWP for an additional 1 year just because you didn't get the full amount. Okay, so having it by June, you have a chance to get your PR picked out. So definitely I would get started with your profile. Okay. Srini, I see you put up this comment. Are you going to respond to it? Do you want me to?
Oh, sorry, I think that was accidentally. Okay. I'm new to this, so please bear with me.
Okay, so maybe I'll jump into it. So the question is, what are the best options for migration for me and my fiance? What does it entail? It's hard to say, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of options for migration. Canada has some of the best immigration programs in the world. So it really just depends. I see you commented again, what would it take for express entry? So express entry is for people who are skilled workers and they have jobs that they're currently working in that qualify as skilled worker positions. So for example, if you are an accountant in your home country, then that can qualify as potentially some skilled work, and you'd be able to apply for express entry. But everyone's situation is different. And I can't necessarily say, what's the best option for you without knowing the details. But if you get in touch with us, I can help strategize, and our team can help strategize what the best options would be. But Express Entry is an excellent program, so long as you have some skilled work experience. Sorry, Excel, you said my PGWP expires before I can get the 1 year experience. Oh, that's tough. Okay. I mean, in that situation, if you have a job offer right now, the best thing to do is ask your employer to help you out and provide you with the job offer so that they can get you maybe an LMIA if it's a skilled work position, and see if they'd be willing to do that. It's really tough when that happens, and I sincerely hope that the Ministry of Immigration is going to come out with some programs to help PGWP holders, because honestly, getting a job in Canada 2021, 2022 was tough. I mean, you're coming out of COVID times, and a lot of students need some help, and students who have graduated. So Excel, right now, your best bet is to talk to your employer to see if they'd be able to sponsor you. If not, again, honestly, did this myself. Try to subscribe to our newsletter, because as soon as a program comes out from the ministry, which I do believe they will have something, you can be notified, and that way you can kind of jump to it before June rolls around. Okay. Trudy, do you want to go through any of the questions, or do you want me to keep taking over?
Yes, I'm just looking at I'm 26, software developer with a 2-year associate degree and 5 years working experience. What is the likelihood? I believe you're a good candidate for Express Entry. So something, especially at 26, that's prime year, right? And you have 5 years of working experience. So it's something that you can explore.
Yeah, that seems like a really good candidate for Express Entry.
Definitely.
Absolutely agree.
There's another question from Hisham. I think he's been posting it quite a lot. With regard to EE and Ariba, whether he can launch the profile at the same time. So I believe he needs Arima is the Quebec immigration program. So Nadia, you would like to comment on that?
No, I had no idea what that was, and I realized, okay, it's Arima, if it's a Quebec program, yeah.
It's within, not within the scope of our jurisdiction.
Yeah,
right now.
it's not. Unfortunately, Quebec operates under a different law, and it gave me a heart attack. So I was like, what is Arima? What is something I don't know on Canadian immigration? But it's a Quebec program, and we are non-Quebec licensees. Quebec operates under civil law, and we operate under common law. So any Quebec matters you'd have to contact a lawyer inside of Quebec. But for Express Entry, I mean, we can help you. That's where we have, like I said, a dedicated team, and we can do some of the work to ensure that things are not conflicting. But it's actually an incredible question, because for anyone who doesn't know, if you are looking at immigrating to Quebec inside of Canada, Express Entry will require you to show proof that you're not going to live in Quebec if you do live there already. So the reason why this person's asking this question is because they're probably looking at, am I able to both apply to a program inside of Quebec, as well as make an argument why I'm not going to live in Quebec? To be honest with you, I think it's you said once we got it, I can choose. I think so. Having a profile for Express Entry is not, and also applying for a program inside of Quebec, it's not going to make you inadmissible to apply for Express Entry. You have the right to do that. And if you get an ITA, and once you get your ITA, at that point, you can make the decision. Am I going to go with this Quebec program, or if I'm going to go with Express Entry? It's a really good question. Really good question. All right, let's see some of the other ones. If PR is granted and we start living in Canada, can we still remotely work for a U.S. company, not a U.S. company doing business in Canada? Yes. one of the requirements for PR is not, for the most part, is not that you have to work in Canada. You can even, I mean, it doesn't even have to be remote, so long as you are, if you, let's say you live in a border town between Canada and the States. If you live in Canada and you want to work in the States, whether remotely or in person, you can do that. You have the right to do that. The only thing to keep in mind is that when you are remotely working and it comes to renewing your PR, you're going to have to prove that you pay taxes in Canada, that you have some establishment in Canada. So one of the easiest ways to do that is like a T4, tax filings inside of Canada. And it's going to be a little bit difficult if you're working remotely for a US company, but as long as you have other supporting documents, you should be fine. Should be fine. Just make sure you're hitting your residency requirement. Okay. All right. So we're basically at 50 people here, and we're about just over halfway through this live. So for anyone who just recently joined in, and anyone who's still here from the beginning, I'm sorry I repeat myself for the 5th time now, but my name is Nadia, and I'm a Canadian immigration lawyer at Visa Place, and Visa Place is a firm in Toronto, Canada. And this is Sharini, who's a licensed consultant, also in Canada. And we're just here to do some live questions and answers for any questions you guys have on Canadian immigration. And if there's anything you want to chat about further, you can always go on our website, visaplace.com, and we'd be happy to continue that conversation with you, see what we can do to help you. We do all areas of Canadian immigration, and we have dedicated teams who are experts in various aspects of immigration. All right. So we'll just continue a little bit for the rest of the live to go through some of these question answers, because honestly, you guys have some really, really great questions. So keep them coming. So let me know.
Yeah. Nadia, so there's a question. I'm just taking it on the screen. So Exalokio. Okay, so I know you have answered my restriction and everything is answered. So how can I continue my stay in Canada? Some options I can book. I think I think it's better if you book a consultation so we can in detail look at your situation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And also Excel, I mean, it's honestly, like I said, I know it feels like a tricky situation. You have some options. It's just a matter of navigating it and seeing what's your best option in your case, depending on your employer, depending on how short you are on skilled worker time. But we're happy to help you with this. You're not the only person who's struggling with it, and people do find a solution. I am so hopeful. Again, the ministry is going to come out with a new program. So even if, finding a job offer feels difficult right now, I mean, I think I really hope this TR to PR comes back. I hope they extend PGWPs. I really think they're going to do something like that. So definitely, let's get some time and get chatting about it. Okay. All right, Scorpion Boy, thank you for following up. I remember your question. So if your brother's married and has kids, then I was thinking about something called other family sponsorship, but that's not going to be applicable because he's married with kids. So perhaps it's like what Sharini said, it's going to be better to look at Express Entry, because Express Entry is really great at giving you points when you have family members inside of Canada. So you have a little bit of a leg up in that program. Someone said, I have an Express Entry profile through your agency. I'm wondering if PNP program should be applied by me or it can be done by you. Absolutely, it can be done by us. Just shoot us an email. If you're working with our legal team, just send an email. You can say that, you tuned into the live, and one of our legal teams will know what you're talking about and will be able to help you with the PNP. Okay. Is there any questions we missed so far in the back? I'm going to scroll back up. So if you guys are joining in the live quickly, just feel free to chat some of your questions. If I missed it, please write it again, because we're going off trying to get through as many questions as we can. But feel free to put it back in there again if we missed it.
Yeah. And again, if you wish to book a consultation with us, there is a 25% off on the consultation fee. So you're most welcome to use that code in booking a consultation with a licensed immigration consultant. and get the advice for the best pathway possible for you all.
I keep forgetting about that. That's really great. Can you
Yeah,
put the code again in the comments for
yeah.
everybody?
Yes, let me put that again. I'm sure everyone will be appreciative of that.
I'm just scrolling through to see what we missed. Let's see. Oh, okay. So here's one that I saw, and I just want to reiterate this for Express Entry. Someone said, "I've limited education, but a lot of experience. Is that a problem?" The short answer is no. You got to look at Express Entry holistically. So what I mean by that is there's a lot of components that go into Express Entry, and it's not like you need to have a master's degree. It's not that you need to have 2 degrees or a post undergrad degree. It's holistic. They take a look at your work experience, they take a look at your age, they take a look at your language score, they take a look at if you have a job offer. So all of these things do make a difference, and don't be discouraged if you just don't have one of the things that they look for, because it's very rare that everybody has everything. And that's why there's a way to calculate based on a ton of different factors. Um, what express entry, what skilled worker means is not just education. It doesn't mean someone who's only 26 years old. It means a lot of things. So we'll be able to help you put a profile together. We give you suggestions on how to, juice up your score a little bit. So don't be discouraged for things like that. Okay.
So, Natasha, I see you have stated that you applied for Express Entry and was denied due to your diploma needing an
ECA.
educational credential assessment. Yes. So that is something that is very crucial. This is the reason that you need to engage a law firm like Visa Place so that we can assist you with the documents that you submit via the profile. There are many DIY clients who do it themselves and then end up with getting a refusal or a rejection of their application for little things as not getting an ECA. So that's an unfortunate situation there, but I believe, Nadia, we can assist her with the other queries she has.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And I've never heard DIY client. That's a
Do it
good phrase.
yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
But absolutely. I mean, it's okay. Refusals happen. Denials happen. You're okay. It's just a matter of, what you're going to do next. So absolutely, there will be other options for you. And also, just so you know, just because you have a refusal on Express Entry, it doesn't mean you can't apply again. It happens sometimes. Some people will give an expired police clearance, or they forgot to upload one document. It's okay. Just put it back in the profile, back in the pool, and try to reapply. That would be, step number one. Get your profile back in, and we can also help you make sure your profile is done properly. Okay, so that's number one. And you said, other options available for someone who's worked and lived in Ontario for 1 year as a scientist, researcher, has a job offer. You sound like a great candidate for CEC. So please don't be discouraged just by a past refusal. Let's get that profile back in the pool, and let's do another application for you. Okay. You said you put a follow up there saying that you're currently waiting a final decision on your extension of your work permit without a final decision. So you're asking if you're able to go to the border to get the extended work permit. Yes, there's a program called flag polling, and flag polling is not easy for you to do on your own. And I genuinely mean that. So there's a lot of parts of immigration that people can, as Srini calls it, DIY clients, that you can be able to push through yourself. Flag polling is a little bit risky because you're dealing with Canada Border Services, you're dealing with USCIS, and it would be a good idea to just make sure you know what you're doing before you flag poll, because if you don't and you leave Canada and you try to come back in and they say no, then you're in a bad situation, right? So we can help you with this flag polling process. And I mean, it doesn't seem like you necessarily need to leave the country as far as I can see. So get in contact with us because you seem like, honestly, you're going to have a really good case. And even if it's a consult and you want to do it yourself, I want to help you on this now that I'm seeing your comments as well. You'll be okay. And we'll just be able to help you with the flag polling there. Okay. All right. There's a question here that says, when is critical worker pilot for New Brunswick starting? I don't know. Do you know, Srini?
I
Let me
need
see
to
if I can
check.
find it.
Yeah, let's see. In the meantime, there was a question on whether somebody, I think it was Ravi Singh, whether you can apply for express entry without IELTS. Unfortunately, not. Language is one of the topmost criteria that is will get you the eligibility, right? And you get the most points by the language test only, and you cannot evade that. So I know it's a little difficult for a lot of people to get the high scores, but once you have the over CLB 9, which is the highest band, you will definitely get the highest points, and that will get you an invitation for permanent residency. So given that you already have your 34 and 8 years of experience, I think it's better that you do your IELTS and get your profile on the express entry pool.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the New Brunswick Critical Worker Pilot Program, it was announced in November, and it's a 5-year program. I don't know the date that it started. New Brunswick is a great province to move to. If you end up getting to New Brunswick, I'm very jealous of you guys. And I'll come join you because that is a great, great place to live in Canada. Yeah, we'll take a look and be able to tell you that a little more details, Mary.
Yeah. So there's a question by Lisa. Fiance is 53, tradesman. What's the quickest and easiest way path to citizenship? Well, I'm a little confused. Are you looking at spousal sponsorship, or is it both of you are looking at permanent residency in Canada? Maybe you can explain it a little bit more on the chat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we got some people just joining in. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining in. I know people are coming and going and things like that. So for anyone who's just joined in, we still have about just under 15 minutes, but we're Canadian licensees in Canadian immigration. So let's just go through any questions and answers that you have. Feel free to comment your questions in the comment bar. What is it? Comment section? And we'll try to get through them as quickly as possible and see what we can do to help you guys in your situations.
Okay, so Lisa, I see that you have confirmed that you're looking at spousal sponsorship. Yes, so if your fiance is 53 and a tradesman, okay, if you get married, yes, we can apply for a spousal sponsorship. That would be the quickest way. If not, if your fiance lives with you for 1 year as a common law partner, you will also be eligible for spousal sponsorship that way. So I hope I answered your question.
Sounds good. Lisa, do you have any follow-up questions? I think I saw something else there for you. Scrolling up. If we're married first, is it easier or quicker? It doesn't matter if we marry in Canada. So Lisa, it doesn't matter where you get married as long as you get a marriage certificate. So if one of you is a Canadian citizen or PR or resident of Canada and you get married inside of Canada, even if the other person isn't, that's okay. You still get your marriage certificate. So it doesn't matter if it's going to be Canada or the States. Just make sure you get a marriage certificate wherever you do that. And if we're married first, is it easier or quicker? It doesn't matter. And just like Srini said, if you're common law already, which is 1 year of cohabitation, then you can go ahead and submit as common law partners. But just keep in mind, if you get married during the process and you submit it as a common law, it's a little bit risky because now you're a spouse, you're husband and wife, or your spouse and spouse, and you're no longer common law. So just keep in mind, if you're getting married like in 2 weeks, then don't do common law. Just wait till you get married and then submit your application.
So I see another question with regard to documentation, whether it has to be a sworn translation and whether it can be done anywhere. so in the world, or does it need to be in the home country? So it's usually it has to be by a translator. If in Canada, there are specified translators, I believe, who has the authority to translate documents.
That's right. Some of these questions are so good. You guys have such really interesting ties to Canada. And I see a lot of people with really interesting jobs as well. So just a reminder, I mean, if you're working in some form of skilled employment position, it's always a good idea to look at either Express Entry or see if you're eligible for a job offer inside of Canada, because that's really going to help you get a foot through the door. And if you're a Mexican citizen or US citizen, then you have even more opportunities based off the NAFTA agreement between Canada, Mexico, and USA. If you're one of those people that's, a skilled worker and you're looking to immigrate to Canada, either temporarily or permanently, then it's a really good option for you. Yes, you can get your documents translated anywhere, as long as it's as Srini said, certified translator. Yeah, it'll be fine. So Ravi, in situations like your situation or anyone else who wants to book a consultation, I want to know if I only look for a job. Oh, sorry. Basically, you're looking for what's available to you without IELTS. I presume, Ravi, that's what you're looking for. Marvi, you live in Iowa, USA. You're a green card holder. You want to move to Canada. Is there any way your organization can help you? Yeah, absolutely, we can. There's a lot of green card holders in the States who want to move to Canada, whether it's permanently or temporarily. Every person's situation is a little bit different. I mean, maybe you're going to come as a worker. Maybe you'd come through Express Entry. Maybe, your job is going to transfer you to Canada. So we'd be able to help you. It just really depends on your specific situation. Dion has a question here. It says, what's the best way to go about migrating to Canada for a mother and a 12-year-old child? Is there an age limit for Express Entry? So no age limit. There is a age minimum, which is 18, but no age limit. So you just don't get points after a certain age, depending on the program you're doing for Express Entry. On average, it's 40 to 45 is when you stop getting points, but that doesn't mean that the program is closed to you. You have a lot of other ways to get points. And if you're looking at skilled work, Dion, then Express Entry is a really good program for you and your child to go to Canada together.
So I see, Mohammed, you have asked, I came to Canada 5 days after turning 18 years old for my studies. Would I need a police certificate from the country I came from? So it's usually backdating up to the last 10 years or since the age of 18. So I believe you will not need a police certificate from your home country, but sometimes immigration may ask. So it will not hurt for you to get it.
It depends on the program too. Like for spousal sponsorship, for police clearances, it's if you've lived there for 6 months consistently over the age of 18. So it depends on what you're applying for. Yeah, each program is a little bit different, but depends on your program. We can take a look for you and help you and tell you which documents you really need.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right. So we just have about 5 minutes before we wrap up. So I just ask if we haven't gone to your question, please type it again so that hopefully we can answer it. And if you haven't been able to answer it or ask your question yet, please go ahead. We'd love to go through it with you. And if we have answered it and just kind of hanging back, or maybe you don't want to necessarily share some details on a Facebook Live, feel free to just get in contact with us. Just mention, first of all, we have that code, that 25% off if you want to book a consultation. But otherwise, I mean, if you just want to talk to Srini or myself afterwards, just feel free to go on visaplace.com and we'd be able to get that set up for you.
And also to subscribe to our newsletter so that they're kept
Yeah,
updated on the various immigration programs.
yeah. I
It
feel very
changes every day. So it's always best to be abreast of what's happening.
absolutely. All right, we got a couple questions that are coming in. Scorpion Boy, you're still here. Your questions are coming. Your follow-ups are coming like 15 minutes apart, but we remember your original question. Okay, so for your brother, if you want to just visit, and if you have a government job, you're in a good position. We're able to really help people be able to put together good applications if you have a government job. It's just a matter of proving it. You want to make sure you're proving it. You want to make sure that you're going to satisfy Immigration Canada why you're going to go back. So it's hard to say your probability because it really does depend on a plethora of factors, but it's certainly something we can help you with. All right, we have a couple questions. We should really try to get through all of them. Srini, do you want to take the next one?
Just yeah. So again, we have Ravi asking whether you can get into a job without IELTS. Um, you may be able to apply for a job without IELTS, but definitely for immigration, IELTS is mandatory at whatever the level. So that's something that you will have to consider if you are looking into coming to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And
So someone wrote, "My daughter is a Mexican citizen. Will I have any benefit of that for PR, even if I have Mexican PR?" No, that doesn't impact Canadian immigration, so it wouldn't be able to affect your application. Now, your daughter being a Mexican citizen, she has some form of benefit because of the NAFTA agreement. And in the NAFTA agreement, it's a little bit easier if you have a job offer to come to Canada. And also, Mexico is visa exempt, so she would just have to apply for an ETA.
there's also maybe one last question that we can accommodate. I want to be a part of the study in the Canadian system. So I believe you're looking to come to Canada on a study permit. So that's something that Canada is an amazing place for students, right? And there's most of the immigration pathways are set out for people who have started as students, right? So that's something good that you're looking at. Maybe you can contact some of the colleges and universities, and once you get an offer letter, please do get in touch with us and we can assist you with the study permit application.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're happy to do that. All right. So last question. I'm just going to actually finish this one up because it has like a bit of detail and I appreciate that. It's from Clara. "My partner's a skilled worker from Switzerland and Australia. Is 28. We'd like to bring him over in 6 months from now when I move back. We've been together for over 3 years, but don't live it together." So spousal sponsorship has 3 streams. You can do if you're married, if you live together for 1 year, or if you're conjugal. Conjugal is mostly reserved for people who cannot get married or cannot live together. And it has to have like a real reason why you can't. So, for example, if you're not allowed to get married based on your country's rules or things like that, or if you can't get a visa to see each other and you can't get married. So my suggestion is that either, not to say that you should get married because you should do whatever you want, but one of the options to look at is if you do plan on getting married, you can take a look there to do spousal sponsorship or cohabitate together for 1 year. And that's probably your best bet. So if you want to get him here first as a temporary resident, then that would be a good idea, whether it's through working or just as a visitor. All right. So I think that's kind of it that we can take on for some questions. But for anyone who's still here, first of all, thanks guys so much for joining in. At this point, we're just going to see, like, if you guys have any follow-ups, if you want to get in touch with us, if we didn't get to your question, please go on visaplace.com and feel free to book a consultation. As you know, that Srini posted there, and you can scroll up in the comments. There's 25% off all consultations right now. And it's there in the comments. So feel free to get in contact with us through the website. Feel free to subscribe to our newsletter. But everything is there, visaplace.com, and you'll be able to get started. We'd be more than happy to help you guys. So feel free to get in contact with us. All right. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Srini, for joining me.
Thank you, Nadia.
Yeah,
It was a
fun.
pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. It's always nice
Thank you.
to chat with you. So thank you guys so much. And feel free to go on visaplace.com for any next steps. All right. Okay. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.